Hello, Star Family. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful gathering. It is awesome to have you here. And in this special occasion, which I want to hold at least like once a month, I want to focus more on your questions. So I don't really have a general guideline for this event. I didn't have a clear topic outside of attachments, filtering unwanted energies, and maybe some protection work, since many of you have been writing in regarding and asking about those stuff. So if all your questions are answered in the chat or the ones that you have posted in the comment section, then I will go into those topics as well, since that is very important at all times, especially here on planet Earth, because we're constantly bombarded with all types of energies that are not always something that we do prefer. So it is very important for us to learn how to navigate this dense reality so we can actually have a preferred and exciting life experience here, because we haven't come here to suffer or to have a bad experience. We are here to heal the world and bring peace. But first we have to create that balance within ourselves. Okay, am I having some sign? I think I am having my internet is a bit slow. Like, anyone could confirm that you can hear me and see me well? That would be awesome. Okay, I think I'm regaining stuff. Okay. Yeah, can anyone write back that you can hear and see me well? That would be great. Otherwise, we'll have to restart the stream. Okay, I'm getting hearts from you guys, so I hope that means that it's working. Okay. So I can hear you and see you well. That is awesome. I hope it was some kind of minor inconvenience. There's a bit of lag on the voice. Okay, what's important is that you can hear me. That's what counts. Okay. It's freezing a bit. Okay, I'm not sure what is causing it. Maybe it's some kind of fluctuation on the internet side. Okay, let's hope for the best and let's continue. So basically, I have two questions from the comment section, from the community section, that you have sent in prior to the event. But if anyone wants to ask anything from me or from my Sirian guides, Tehute, then please do so. I will bring through information as lightly and clearly as I can without going into a deep channeling trance state. It's going to be an interesting experiment. We've kind of tried it last time around and I want to try it this time again. So I really enjoyed doing it, enjoyed the flow of the whole event, so let's keep that momentum going and have an awesome time together. Okay, yes, Julie, you must be energized. Yeah, probably. It's too much for the bandwidth here with the internet. Okay, so the first question that you guys have sent in: should a person trust the Ashtar Command and Galactic Federation of Light? Okay, so many of us who have been in the Awaken community, or especially if you consider yourself a starseed or having some kind of connection with different star races, or you had other incarnations in different star systems, then I bet you have heard along the years about the Ashtar Command or the Galactic Federation of Light, or some kind of union, a world, or however people tend to call them. But I think the most well-known name is the Federation of Light, and it does exist. I think all of us who are here to assist planet Earth are here with them. Like, we are an extension of that operation on the ground of assisting Mother Earth and everyone on the planet to transcend density. Because I think we touched upon this in the last event as well, that I think it started more during the 50s, that before the 50s, it was very clear to many races that, okay, planet Earth just experienced 2 world wars, and they can't really get out of this karmic loop that they're in. So it is time to assist them in some shape or form, because they won't be able to resolve this on their own. So many star races were called, like, okay, like who wants to volunteer and like actually be born in this crazy dark world that is very dense and self-destructive, so you can help planet Earth transcend density. And basically the first, also if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon's work, she talks about the 3 waves of volunteers. Excuse me. And the first wave is the baby boomers, like they're the first ones that came in, just like in World War II in Normandy on D-Day. They've landed on hostile territory. So they took the biggest hit, sadly, and most appreciation to all of you who have taken on that sacrifice. And I'm part of the second wave. I was born in the late 80s, or people who are right now, maybe they're late 20s, 30s, mid 30s, like they are like the second wave, the indigo kids who are not really kids anymore, but we are the indigo kids. Although we have kind of grown up a long time. And the third wave are like the youngsters who have been born maybe in the past 15 years, maybe 20, but definitely the kids, like they are like the excellence, like they are the, I'm not sure, like where we are heading, like they have the most upgrade here. And basically we prepare the environment for them so they can come in with their high vibrational energies and do even more work than we were able to do, because we came in with a huge amnesia and handicapped on all levels. Because, yeah, like just as I said, Earth is a very dense place. It is very dark. It's very dangerous on all levels, planes, and existence. So, yeah, we took a lot of hits and traumas along the way. But, yeah, we took it for the team, and it is now our time to heal all that we have taken on, so our kids and their kids won't have to take on the same stuff as we did. So they can have a much lighter experience and actually focus on creating and building a new and more prosperous reality than we had our chance to do, basically. But coming back to the so-called Federation of Light, like we are the extension of that operation that exists. I'm not sure how, why, but I guess like it's like a global thing across multiverses or something. But right now, many races are here to assist us. And I think like many people are familiar with Star Trek, and it kind of works like that. And also like Star Trek is part of Disclosure. Spoilers, like that's kind of a program that they use on different types of worlds of like seeding ideas into the population about them and like possible future timelines that we could experience. So basically, certain parts of our media are like soft disclosure and also like sowing seeds for a better future to show, to basically integrate certain concepts in the Earth Collective to show planet Earth that, hey, like things could be different, like you could do things differently, you can live in a different way, you can actually live in a functional and well-balanced way, like you don't have to be so chaotic and all over the place. And in part, that is why we have those series, and also there are movies or books, and maybe to like a normal person who is not awakened or is not like exploring these things, to them it may seem, oh, it's just fiction. I mean, in great part, yes, it is fiction because it's not one-on-one representation of the real thing, but it is based on something that exists somewhere. And most of these things that are, I wouldn't say like necessarily popular, but like it resonates with people on a very deep level, are usually based on something that is true or exists somewhere. Or maybe some of us have already experienced that, and that is why we gravitate towards those stuff, because deep down on a soul level, it's like, oh, like I know that stuff, like that feels familiar, like that feels like home. It makes so much more sense than what I'm experiencing here. So many of us like subconsciously gravitate towards such stuff. And I think that's why, for example, like Star Trek has become such a huge thing, because I think it started in the late 60s or so. So basically that's when the baby boomers came in, and as they were like growing up, they already have that template present on Earth. And basically I think like they made it even more popular because it resonated with them, and also with later generations as well. Only in the past, I don't know, like 10 years did they started to like butcher the whole franchise and like take it in a different course, which is so not Star Trek. It's something completely else. It's just the name and characters' names. So yeah, like in general, in short, don't watch it. It's not worth it. That's not Star Trek anymore. Okay. Yes, so this is like the bright side of the whole thing. That yes, it does exist. The union of worlds or different races that are here to assist us, it is real, it does exist. And the question was like, can we trust them? And my answer is yes, but like there's a huge disclaimer here that they are like misrepresented by other beings or other factions as well. So maybe not so evolved races, or maybe in some cases even human beings, can like masquerade themselves or present themselves as them, and cause some chaos and confusion with that. Because if you're not in tuned, if you don't know them energetically, or if you're like not well balanced or more advanced on your spiritual path, and you're not so familiar with energy work and like how to sense truth and like how to sniff out lies or distortion, then it can be a very confusing experience. But because like these trickster beings or even humans, like they can present themselves as them and like cause chaos and confusion through that. Because like someone who is in the beginning phase of their work, waking up, like they can completely get mixed up in this. Like they will have like an awesome, beautiful experience with these beings, and like the next night they're going to have a horrible abduction with the same looking type of beings, but of course it is not. But if you are still in the beginning phases, it will be very difficult to like tell the two apart from each other. So yeah, like I was also in that phase for I think like 1.5 years or so at the beginning of my journey, of like I had like these both types of experiences. And it was like super confusing. I just couldn't really tell stuff apart. Like, and basically after a time, even the good experiences started to become scary, because you can like never know, like, okay, like last night I had a very trashy experience. It was very scary. And I can like sense that it's going to happen something again. And you're like, oh my God, like, is it going to be something unpleasant? Or like, oh my God, like what is going to happen now? So yeah, like that's how they confuse us and like distort us. Like they know that we have no freaking clue of like how it works. Like we don't have the necessary knowledge to it in the beginning, and like they exploit that and do the best they can to confuse us and like scare us away from this path, from the path that we came here to do, basically. Okay, so that was my super big disclaimer. So as always, like use discernment. And if you're not sure of yourself, if you don't know like this from apart, if you can't tell apart one from the other, then just say, okay, like no, like I don't feel comfortable with this, I don't want to engage. Yeah, like the good guys, like they will absolutely respect that. Okay, like you're not ready right now, that's perfectly fine, we'll let you figure it out. And yeah, like they will only they wouldn't, no, they don't interfere, but they will let themselves know that, okay, like we're here for you, like this is real, like we exist, and like we're here to support you, but like we will not come in and like do anything for you or change or alter your experience. The only thing that they will do is like let you know that we are here with you, and if you want to engage, then you have the possibility to do so. Yeah, like that's the difference between our guides and the unpleasant other type of beings. Like your guides will never like come in and change or do stuff for you. You always have to ask them to. Okay, so PP, I have a question. If there is a reason why I can't remember dreams, are always so tired in the morning, like I'm really far away and have a lot of work in the sleep. Yes, that is absolutely true. Yes, I think we talked about this like 2 weeks ago, that, yeah, like we're super active during the night, but not always. I prefer the nights when I'm sleeping pleasantly in my bed. But yes, like the conscious mind has the memory and experience of actually being asleep. Also, your body is kind of asleep, like your physical body is asleep, but your other self, like your, I think it's called the subtle body, some people call it like that, like you're traveling, you're going to places, you're working with other beings or people, you're somewhere learning something. For example, especially with kids, or like when we were younger, and especially now with the children, like you go to bed at night, you sleep, but you go to the ships, for example, to these Federation ships, and with other people, like you're not alone with ETs, like there are like these great gatherings, like in seminars or something, or like in amphitheaters, like you receive like see presentations, or like you learn new skills, you start to remember stuff. And in most cases, I think like 95% we don't remember what actually happened. And what we usually bring back is just like glimpses or small fragments that when you wake up, you know that, hey, like there was something that night that happened. I feel a bit strange, like I'm kind of tired, like I haven't slept at all, because most likely you weren't really sleeping. And yeah, like I know that something happened, but I can't really remember. But you can like rest assured that the experience happened, it is there. Like you know the things, you retain that information inside of you, and when you're ready to, then you can like unlock that experience. And in some cases you can do it during meditation if you're a bit more advanced on in your energy work, or like exploring different types of altered states on your own. You can totally do it during your meditations. Or if you're new to this, then you can like definitely do like a hypnotic regression and maybe ask someone to guide you through the experience. But what I would like highly recommend is to like ask your higher self, like, okay, like you guide me through this, like I only should see and remember what is in alignment with me at this time, with my journey. Because in many cases we don't remember things because of very good reason. In certain parts, there are different aspects to it. Like one of them is because we're not ready yet. There are like certain aspects to our experiences that we're not ready to understand. And if you were to remember certain details maybe regarding it, then maybe it could like confuse you or like set you on a different course, which would not be in alignment with the path that you set for yourself. For example, just as I was talking about this previously, that there are like different types of beings that have like a very bad reputation on planet Earth. In some cases for good reason. Like some have a very bad reputation, but also some of those beings also work with the higher beings as well. Or there are like more evolved beings that look like them, like the lower density beings, but they have evolved and they have rebalanced themselves and they are healed. And maybe to your unaware, or if you're like not so well advanced on this path, the first thought that you will have that, oh my god, like those are the bad guys. And yeah, like you don't know like why they are there. Like maybe they are there because like they also want healing from their path, or maybe those are the guys who have already healed from that path and they have like transcended to another level, to a higher level, just as your guides maybe. And yeah, like I also had experiences with the Lizzies, just a very few to be honest. but just in a single experience, like I've seen had some interactions with the very low density ones, and also the ones that actually transcended that and evolved to a higher plane. And to like outward expression, like they look the same. So if you wouldn't know any better, you would say like, oh my god, like those are those evil creatures, and couldn't be farther from the truth, because like one of them had an absolutely different energy than the other. So the lower vibrational, had this very chaotic, aggressive vibe to him, and the other one looked exactly the same physically, but was like completely like centered and balanced, and it was radiating this calming aura from himself. It was almost like he was like some kind of spiritual master or something. So yeah, like if you don't read their energies, then you could think that they are the same thing, or even the same being maybe. And this is where confusion sets in, sadly. But that's just part of the whole experience. So yeah, you have to work through that difficult part, but you can definitely do it. So awesome. So let me see if there are any other ones in the comment sections. If you have any questions regarding this or anything completely unrelated, then please share it in the chat box. Okay, so Tatika, can you describe service to others? Why some channels offer service to others for a cost of thousands of dollars? None can afford this service to others. Can you describe service to others? Yes. Well, basically, I'm not sure like since when we use this term, but this is like a very good term to describe also these beings. For example, you have service to other beings and like service to self. And like the chaotic lower beings who seek to control and to cause fear are like service to self, because they only seek to gain something from that experience. And like more evolved beings, they exist to serve life itself. They exist to uplift and to heal creation itself. So this is the difference between the two. Like this is how you can tell one apart from the other. Like what is their intent? And this is absolutely applicable to humans as well. Like there are service to self humans and there are service to other humans as well. And I think like we're both categories are like experimenting and learning on like how to gain balance, or like reach a balance in this, because like on the higher planes it feels a bit more simpler, because like you're in this like super ideal state and you're like, oh, I'm assisting life everywhere in the cosmos and all that. But here in the lower planes it's much more difficult, because it's like we have to survive, like we have to invest quite a bit of energy in staying healthy and alive here on planet Earth. So it's not necessarily a given here, and it's also a dangerous environment if you're not careful. So in our case, it's a bit more trickier and difficult. And yes, like, but also people like, I remember that some people asked about like service to self being that you like take care of yourself, which is, I don't think it's true. Like it's a confusion there in the terminology, because like you can be service to others, but you have to take care of yourself as well. Because if you are not okay, then how can you help other people? Like that is why it is so tricky to reach a balance here on planet Earth regarding this. Because, okay, like we want to help others and like we are here to heal and to assist. Because like we carry this program and pattern from the higher realms, that we are like in full service mode and I'm going to give you everything. And it's not sustainable in this plane. And that is why we have to learn to do it in a balanced way of like, okay, like I'm going to give you what I can, but I also need to take care of my own needs, because if I don't, then I'm not going to be of service to anyone. And I also think that is why many healers and practitioners, they also ask for compensation for their services, because here on planet Earth, we need money right now, although probably we're going to transition sometime in the future when it's not going to be a necessity. But right now it is something that all of us need if you don't live in the wilderness and hunting for deer and making campfires. So yeah, like that is the reason. But yeah, like if it doesn't resonate, then just don't apply to those, basically. Yeah, I think like a good rule of thumb would be like, yeah, like if you need someone's assistance, like put out a call to the universe and like say that, hey, like I want to come into contact with a practitioner or someone who can assist me that is in alignment with my budget as well, and also provides a great service for that fee, for example. Yeah, your second wave too, Tatika? Yes. Yeah. I think there are many of us who are listening that are second wave and the third wave, because I know that there are quite a few who are listening as well. So all my respect to you guys. My mom is also first waver and she got hit pretty bad, sadly, during life. But yeah, she's also in the process of healing through this stuff. Okay. So, Clever Glyphy, how would you describe the frequency of Sirians? Yes, that's a great question. I'm not sure how I would describe it with words, but like the way I experience it is like they're like very logic-based mind, like not like Spock type of energy, because like I wouldn't say like very emotional, but I do tend to feel from them a certain emotional tones depending on like what they're communicating, but they're not experiencing like emotions to the extremes that we do. They're far more balanced and like centered. Like human beings tend to be very erratic with their emotions, except if you're like some kind of spiritual master living on a mountain. Even they are like way beyond that master, in my opinion. Like they've been practicing this and evolving for like millions of years. They're quite a bit ahead of us, evolution-wise. So they're like this radiating, calm, super balanced energy to them, but they can be also very like funny. Like they can like crack jokes and like say very humorous stuff. Like they don't necessarily like interpret humor as we do, but they can like say like witty things too, or nail things on its head. Like they're awesome with that. Yeah, other than that, they're like can be very analytical. At least the ones that I'm working with, like they're like super objective. And the crazy thing, I mean, it's not crazy. It makes much more sense than what we do here on Earth. Like for us, like we are so used to like small talk and like being courteous and I don't know, like just going about things in like in a very, I don't know, like I wouldn't say like non-confrontational, but we don't really like tackle things directly because we're afraid that we will like offend someone or we would say something that would upset the other person, and they absolutely lack any of that. So it's also there were quite a few occasions when I was like directly like channeling them, and they were like very directly like asking questions of someone. Like she was in a very tough situation, and they were like to the point, like asking the hard questions up front, and like, I'm like, are you sure that you want to phrase it that way? That would be quite rude, and like the poor person like should like phrase it a bit differently, so it's a bit more gentle to them. So they don't really like understand that, and I mean it does make sense because like you're wasting energy with it, at least from their perspective. Like it's okay, like to the point and be efficient as possible. That's kind of their way how they go about stuff. Okay. Your gut feeling regarding Elena Donan, I have absolutely no clue who she is. I'm sorry. Yes, we have Laya Luna, first wave here. Awesome. Greetings. Okay. Okay. Oh my god. the chat just jumped. I hope I can like regain. Okay, yes, if you have any questions, that it would be super helpful if you can like put a question mark in front of your question so I can sort it out even more easily from the chat. Okay, so has a Sirian starseed. Okay. One of the hard things to understand is seeing how everything seems so disconnected down here. Yes, and like, yeah, like that's, I think for most of us, the most difficult thing is like learning how to navigate life with other human beings. It's like, why is everyone so chaotic? Like, why is everyone so mean to each other? And also like a common trait that I also experience on myself is like, we are afraid of like strong emotions. And yeah, like that's absolutely something that I'm unable to handle. Like not from myself, because I experience emotions in a very Sirian way. Like I'm like, okay, like I may seem to many people like I'm like a super reserved person. Like even if like something huge is happening, I'm like, okay, that's cool, great. And yeah, but other people don't experience it like that. And also when you're in the higher realms, like if you interact with these higher beings, with your guides, with other star races, like they're super balanced and they got their shit together and they have figured things out. And you come down here and talk to other people and they're like super chaotic. Like their energies are like screaming, or they're nervous or angry, or some people are even aggressive. And yeah, I absolutely don't know how to deal with that. So when thank God I was like always protected mostly from these types of situations. But the few occasions that I had with people who actually like were not physically aggressive, but became aggressive towards me, I was like, oh my God, like what do you do? I'm like, what is this? I just froze. Like those goats that got scared and they just fall on their back with their feet to the sky. Like I don't know, I can't handle those emotions, and most likely I won't really learn how to handle that on this level. I'm not sure, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Yes, so Sherry, hi, yes, been really trying to focus on balancing the giving and receiving, putting on my oxygen mask when needed. Yes, like that is a huge and absolutely awesome analogy of like when the plane is going down, like they always say that you should put your own oxygen mask first, because if you pass out from the lack of oxygen, like how are you going to help the other person next to you? So yes. Okay. Oh, I see. A lot of things are happening here. So why we don't remember who we are when we come to Earth, like a blank memory. Yes, an awesome question from Isabel. Like I don't think it's with everyone, like, but this is like the huge general, like most of us do forget everything. Like we are unable to retain those memories because I think it's also because of genetics. Like we have deteriorated as a race and also as a collective. And since the flood, as I understand, like we have like, I don't know, like stepped down evolution-wise on that scale. And we are unable to do that on birth. Like, so we became like so redundant genetically that we just can't do it anymore. There are like certain individuals who claim to come in with full memory, although I'm not sure how that works, or I don't know. I guess like even they don't come in with full memory because like physically that's impossible for the child's brain to be able to comprehend and process so much information. But I guess like many people, I mean not many, but those people come in with more of a sense of who they are and why they are here, I guess. And like as they grow up, more and more stuff come back to them and they come online much sooner than the rest of us, I guess. yeah, like also in my case, I kind of had those type of, I think people call it walk-in stuff, when you like shift drastically consciousness wise and like personality wise as well. Like I had like 2 of those experiences in the past 11, 12 years. The last one was in 2021, which was far more drastic, and I needed 10 years of preparation to survive that. But yeah, it was well worth it. But yeah, like those are like the activations that like really put us online. And like that's when I really started to remember other lifetimes as well. That's when I really started to like tap into this immortal nature that we have, of like me living through Earth's history in different phases and like experiencing and doing stuff in other times, in other geographic locations, and like all of that like starting to slowly come back to me and remembering it, just as I remember my childhood or any other event that happened in this lifetime. Although like the tricky stuff with it is like things tend to like mix up in me, at least, like sometimes I like lose stuff from this life and like other experiences coming from other lives. And yeah, it's strange blend of things inside of me right now, of like I see my other life experiences as parts of this life as well. So it's a very strange sensation, to say the least. Okay, but theoretically, if we heal as a race and if we heal Earth's grid, then we will be able to retain more information. And I also think like the kids who come in, they're much more aware and probably bring back more of what they have been doing in other lifetimes than we did. But in the ideal state, as I've learned from, for example, the Sirians as well, like they grow up very rapidly, in a sense that even when they are like kids, or like other races as well, when they're like kids, they're like at full consciousness, and they just, I mean, they still have to learn stuff, but they retain a lot. So even in a very young state, they're very mature mentally, at least. Okay, source conduit. I'm actually wanting to know about that. I used to feel so deeply, and for some reason, I have been feeling very numb to myself for a while. Is that something that they can elaborate on? Is this natural? I'm not sure, that's quite vague. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like it can be also because like the Ascension symptom stuff, like as we're evolving and receiving so many codes from the sun and other types of cosmic rays, and like we're constantly like readjusting, then resting a bit, then receiving new codes, then resting a bit, and we'll have like this undulating wavy experience of like 2 days I feel like crap, I'm super exhausted, and like the next day for a week I'm totally cool, then it happens again. Or you suddenly get like flu-like symptoms out of nowhere, which also go away like just as rapidly as they came in. Or other types of physical symptoms as well. For example, like many people have heart palpitation. I also had that from time to time. Like dizziness, disorientation. Yeah, like I think many of us experience that. And I think like most of it is because the sun is like bombarding us very intensely with different types of energies. And also the Sirians always said that, hey, like you're receiving a lot of divine masculine energy from the sun. So in order to like counterbalance it and like bring it into alignment, like interact more with Mother Nature and like bring in more divine feminine energy into your life. So you can like I wouldn't say like counteract, but at least like balance out the energies of the sun. And like also like this detachment and numbness can also be from like, I wouldn't say like detaching from the physical self, but like as our subtle and energetic body is also upgraded, like it also fluctuates. Naturally, it is like very much connected to our physical self. like we have our physical body, you have your nervous system, and then we have like the Eastern medicine calls it the meridian system. Basically our energetic pathways and energy centers, chakras, like they are like the in-between between our physical body and our energetic self, basically our higher self. And as we're like receiving these upgrades and it is like changing, it can like move out a bit, like come back again, like undulate a bit, and also it can like detach partially from the body a bit, then reconnect again as it's happening. So yeah, like ground as much as you can, like take care of yourself and rest whenever it's needed. Okay, well, thank you for the huge question marks. Okay, yes, I choose to incarnate as a Hungarian in this life. Yes, I also noted your question on the side. Is there something about this ancestry that connects to certain star nations? Yeah, I asked about this and like I kind of received that it's not necessarily. Like I kind of seen something that like the Hungarians, our ancestors come from the East. And like in the East, our ancestors were like taught and like tutored by the survivors of the previous civilization. And like that's in part where we have some, from where we have some of our genetics. And also like the information that we carry, which has been like stamped out and destroyed systematically, sadly. For example, if no one, for example, the people who don't know like the past of the Hungarians, like we come from the East, we were these like nomadic tribes. We had like a type of shamanic tradition, but since we have arrived in Europe like more than 1,000 years ago, when like Christianity was booming and like everyone had to be associated with Rome or the how do you call Byzantine? The Byzantine Empire or something, and you couldn't be like this pagan, you know, like shamanic tribe here in the middle of Europe. So you had to convert or be exterminated. So basically, our ancestors more than 1,000 years ago, all of them were with force converted to Catholics, to be Catholics, and like absolutely every remnants of our previous like, I don't know, like beliefs or traditions were like systematically exterminated to the point that we only can like guess of what was before Christianity. Like we barely even have any types of like relics or I don't know, like stories. So it's nothing really tangible. Like even the experts are only like guessing of what could have been, basically. So it's kind of sad that we don't know. But maybe one day we will know. And the even more horrific part of it is like, of course, not everything was like destroyed at that time, like 1,000 years ago, but also some stuff survived throughout history. But I've watched also many like presentations and documentaries on this, and like people are recounting that like in certain places, like people are deliberately like books are disappearing, or previous researchers that like gave you like clues, or like they found actually some remnants were like disappearing or like misrepresented or destroyed. So there's like a huge effort on like concealing our past. And it's not just with the Hungarians, it's with others as well. Like just look at ancient Egypt, they're like trying to restore the Sphinx so people can't see that the rocks were eroded by rain. So, I mean, everyone saw it already, so it's kind of late to restore it right now. Okay. Let me see to catch up. Are there any other questions? Yes, hello Jenny, awesome to see you. Okay. Can you give some recommendations to start remembering who we are, to activating our memories? Yes, I'm not sure if we talked about this previously, but in general, the best thing that you can do is to heal yourself, to work through your traumas, work through all the blockages, And as you're progressing on that path, like these things will naturally just come to you. I think like most of us, and like this was true for me as well, I wanted to know everything in the beginning, and I wanted to have all these connections and knowledge in the beginning of my journey, and I was just simply not ready for it. So yeah, then after a few years, I had to realize that I need to do a lot of background work on myself to actually be able to comprehend these things. And I think I mostly like focused like 3 or 4 years, excuse me, of like grounding stuff and like healing myself. And it started to become much more intense in 2019. I guess like I reached a specific point in my journey when I was like healed enough to receive more information and to have much more crazier experiences than I had ever before. But yeah, like you have to like prepare for that, because it's a lot easier, and most of the times it's going to be like I wouldn't say like difficult to navigate, because you are already prepared for the things that will come to you. But if you were to like thrust into that state or that situation, like maybe like 3 years prior of you being ready for it, then probably it would have been a very bad situation or something you couldn't be able to deal with at that time. So like take your time and just enjoy the ride. And like what my guides always say is that yeah, like you always have the opportunity to do something at like each moment, or like maybe like this phase of your journey, and like use that up to the fullest. Like don't rush it, because if you don't use up this opportunity fully, or if you don't use up this energy that is disposable right now for this specific purpose, then you're just simply not ready to get the next package, because you're not even done with this one. So you won't get it. You have yeah, like they always say, there's no skipping. Yeah, you have to do your work basically. But simply just learn to enjoy it and just work with what you have right now, because it is very important to do it right now. That is why it is coming up right now. Okay. Yes. Hey, hello, Cool Deep. Toast. Can Mother Gaia be your twin flame? I have absolutely no clue, but I don't think so, because that's just my interpretation. Is that like Mother Gaia is a very higher being, like she's a planetary consciousness, and we're small little beings in her physical body. So we are part of her body as well, just like cells are a constructive part of our physical body. Like we are not aware of them separately and individually, how they function and like what they do in our bodies. But it's kind of like a similar relationship with Mother Earth as well. She is this huge planetary consciousness, and she gives life to billions of creatures, animals, plants, humans inside of her own body, just as we have billions of cells in our own bodies. So as above, so below. And like the twin flame, I'm not sure like the sun could be considered, but in our system, like it is the counterpart of Mother Earth as the sun, because like the sun represents the divine masculine energies. And like the sun is transmitting the rays that it is receiving from the center of the Milky Way galaxy, which is coming from Source. It is transmitting it to its entire system. Mother Earth is receiving it into her core, and through her own network, and which is the flower of life, she is like sharing that energy with everyone and everything that is alive in her and part of her system. And that is how we evolve and function. Like the sun is like giving Mother Earth like new codes of like what to do with your children, like create these new species, or here are some DNA upgrades for those animals. And like Mother Earth receives it in her own being, and like then changes all those things according to the codes that she received previously. Yes, Julie, how much longer will we be feeling these ascension symptoms? I'm not sure, but I think like they will always be there, kind of. Although you should ask higher vibrations about that. She's an expert in ascension symptoms. But yeah, I think like we will always be evolving and experiencing these somewhat. The only difference is like we had ascension symptoms previous to 2020 in this period, but since 2020 up until today, like they have become like super intense. And it has become like the new norm of experiencing very intense heart palpitations or like these crazy physical symptoms just coming into our reality, giving us like like scaring us, like thinking that, oh my god, like I'm sick, or I'm going to have a heart attack, or I'm going to pass out, and it just leaves. And they become like very frequent because like the change and the shift is intensifying, but they were always there. They were just not as intense and frequent. And I think like probably after we like go through the big bulk of change and we figure out a lot of stuff, then the frequency of it and also the intensity of them probably will subside over time. But still we will continue to evolve, so it's not going to go away completely, I guess. But the more balanced we are emotionally and physically, the more these symptoms become like subdued and more subtle, to the point that you just only observe that, hey, like I'm feeling that strange sensation again, but it's not that bad. I'm okay with that. I'm just making a note to myself that it's happening again, but I'm okay with that, for example. And yeah, like that is why grounding with Mother Earth is crucial, because the divine masculine energies are mostly causing this, coming from the sun, just as I explained previously. Like the sun is bombarding us with these new codes, which are masculine in nature, and the feminine is receiving it inside of her to create new life from her own body. And basically we need to ground with Mother Earth or do something with Mother Earth to receive more of her energy inside of us to balance out the two. And the more balanced and healed you are inside of yourself, then the less these symptoms will bother you. Okay. Oh yes, Larissa, thank you for the beautiful red question mark. Are the Mayan predictions a possibility for humanity? After Julian calendar, we are in 2011, and next year 2012. I have absolutely no clue about these things. I kind of followed this 2012 thing for when it was actually 2012. I'm not sure about like people want 2012 again, but yeah, like we are kind of in the same energy again. But I don't think, like I don't follow these calendar stuff. Like I just try to live in the now and experience things for what it is. But yeah, like we're in this like culmination of many alignments, and like portals opening, a lot of new codes coming in. So also if you follow like astrology, like I just very vaguely follow astrology, but if you just know one or two things about it, then you can just look back for the past few years and you can like see that like every week there's like a unique alignment or something is happening astrologically that hasn't happened for 2000 years and it's happening right now. And next week it's something else again. Like that's, oh yes, and in the meantime we're bombarded with solar storms while these crazy alignments are happening. So yeah, like there are many different types of things happening, and basically they're all there to like assist and enhance this whole process of us evolving, and to basically speed up the process so we can like move through it more quickly and we don't have to experience the not so fun parts for too much. So what I'm always receiving is that we're in an awesome time of for working through difficult stuff. Because like previously, if we had like a trauma or something that we've been carrying for quite some time, then you needed quite a lot of time and energy to work through it. In some cases, if you go way back, maybe you needed lifetimes to like work that stuff out. And right now, if you want to, and like you put your energy and intent into it, like you can work for it very quickly. You don't have to go like super deep and like re-experience all the trauma, like bring back old wounds and stuff like that. Like if you are ready to let it go, then you can make it happen for yourself very quickly. Like we are in that time right now. That is what all these alignments and crazy solar activity is helping us with, is to like move through this difficult part as lightly and fast as possible, basically. Okay, let me see if, yes, source conduit. Yes, do the Dorian have much to say on blue avian souls? I'm not sure whom you are referring to. I have always felt like I may of the star races, but even that doesn't fit. I feel like I'm from another universe. Yes, welcome to the club. There's not a lot about them. Yes, like sadly I don't know much about the blue avians, other than I did a light language channeling with them like 2 or 3 years ago, which is for some reason super popular. Like it's getting a huge amount of views each day. So if anyone's interested in some crazy blue avian light language channeling, then you can listen for 20 minutes of me making strange sounds, and people really enjoy doing that for some reason. And yeah, like on my end, I never listened to it. I just recorded it, and it was a crazy, wacky experience. Like I'm so happy that no one was home. I could just like fully let everything just come through. Like they have a very intense, I don't know, so I kind of like wacky energy to them, and like very playful energy to them, but they're like very, very fast for some reason. So yeah. But as far as I know, there's some kind of guardian race, and also they're connected to ancient Egypt in some parts. Although I haven't done much research or digging on them. But for example, like many of these deities, or like also Thoth is like represented with blue in many parts. And also like Ra is on the hieroglyphs is always wearing something blue as well. So, and they're birds as well. So yeah, there are some interesting connections. So Larissa, thank you again for a beautiful mark. What happened with the with that anomaly on the Schumann resonance? Was that an upgrade or of codes? I'm not sure. Also, if you want more on the Schumann resonance, Higher Vibration has some weather forecasts and like analysis on that. Like she follows it, I don't. I only followed it through her for a certain time. But yeah, like it's kind of the same thing as with the solar activities, that there are like different, I don't know how to explain it, like there are different sites and like different countries that like monitor the Schumann resonance, and like you can go to different sites to like see and like compare them. Mostly they kind of match, but like whenever something is happening, like the resonance just goes completely off the charts. So we have like this range that is like considered normal for Earth to like emit constantly, but in the past 2 years, like the new norm has been like completely redefined. And because like, for example, when these solar storms are hitting, like that, the resonance also goes up, or if there's these alignments happening, or there's some kind of Earth event occurring, then it's almost like speaking, like completely going off the chart, like unreadable, basically. And there are certain sites or countries where like when it is happening, you can see it live, but the next day they like falsify the history so that like people think like, oh, like nothing is happening, like everything's normal, when it's a lot of stuff is happening basically. Alrighty, and I think we're at the end of the event. That was awesome. Thank you for the excellent questions and like bringing through awesome information. Can't wait for the next one. Also, if you have watched so far and you're present, thank you very much, especially for watching the replay. I'm sending you many hugs. And next week, I want to do like a group light language activation, talking more about light language, like what it is, what can you use it for, and like together, let's do a type of activation. And anyone who wants to make crazy sounds and bring through the language of light, then let's do so together. Maybe it will act more of as a catalyst if we do it together, rather than just like listening to a specific recording on your own. Like doing things in a group and like holding space for each other can be super huge, basically. So let's see what happens. Thank you again for